Why is it that when most people try to drive fast, their car starts sliding and they end up spinning out, while professional racers effortlessly set world record lap times? It all comes down to one simple misunderstanding, something I call the rotation fallacy, which I'll break down in this video. I'm Jimmy Grills, a top 2% iRacing driver and professional coach who's helped over 100,000 racers get faster sim racing, and my goal is to do the same for you. Now let me ask you this, has this ever happened to you? You enter a corner fast, chasing a new personal best. You get to the mid corner and you feel the car starting to push wide. Maybe you slightly miss the apex, and when you try to correct it to stay on the track, the car suddenly snaps around, causing you to spin out. Trust me, I've been there more times than I care to admit. For a long time, I didn't understand why it was happening until I learned something crucial. Think of car rotation and speed as a trade-off. The faster your car travels, the less rotation it can safely achieve. The slower you're moving, the more rotation the car can deliver. So, for example, if a car was out on a skid pad and driving at a consistent speed while holding the same steering angle, the car would draw a perfect circle. If we were to gradually increase the speed, the car would draw an opening spiral because as we drive faster, it loses its ability to rotate. If we gradually decrease the speed we drive at, the car will draw a closing spiral because as we drive slower, the car's ability to rotate increases. We can't expect to get the same level of rotation that we were achieving when traveling 50 kilometers when we're driving at 180. And this concept is one of the two puzzle pieces that explain how pros effortlessly set killer lap times. So now that we understand how rotation and speed are related, how do we actually determine where that limit of rotation is? To ensure that we never exceed the car's rotation capacity, we need to first perform 3 different tests while we drive, and each one of these build on the other, so it's important that you perform them in the order I'm about to say. Real quick, if you want to join a community of racers, get access to a full 30+ video course I made on car handling and a lot more, then check out Sim Racing University. Link is in the description. The first test is to determine the car's ability to rotate under braking during the corner entry. Remember, as we decrease speed, we should be able to extract more and more rotation. So for the corner you're driving, try trail braking more and more aggressively to force more rotation until you feel the rear getting too loose and the car starts wanting to spin. Once you get to that point, you've found your corner entry rotation limit. The second test is during the mid corner as we approach and enter the transition point, where we swap from brake to the throttle. During this portion, I want you to try and turn the wheel more and more, see how much steering angle you can add without getting under or oversteer. I like to call this feeling for grip. You're trying to find how far you can safely push the car, and when you get to the point where the car starts behaving in a way where it wants to spin or understeer, you just reel back your steering angle. You'll often find that the car is capable of handling a lot more rotation than you initially expected during this stage, and it's also the safest part of the corner to generate this rotation because you're traveling the slowest. The final test is during corner exit, under acceleration. We want to once again see how much rotation we can squeeze out of the car as we slingshot out of the corner. This can be tested using 2 different methods. First, you can generate rotation based on how quickly you apply the throttle. So try different throttle application speeds and find out what works best for your car. The other technique is similar to the previous, where you see how much steering angle you can safely maintain while accelerating out of the bend. All 3 of these tests have one core purpose, which I'll get to later, but don't get it twisted. This isn't something you do every lap during a race. You'll destroy your tires and probably cause a crash. This is something you do during testing or maybe once halfway through a long race after the car's dynamics have changed due to petrol loss or tire degradation. If you were to watch someone driving like this, it'd look like they were pushing the car over its limit. The rear would be stepping out and look out of control. A far reach from what pro drivers look like which surprisingly looks almost slow. So how do we get to that level of effortlessness? This is where we combine both the first and second puzzle pieces of this mystery together. The first piece was understanding the relationship between rotation and speed, and the second was learning how to test what rotation the car was actually capable of achieving. Now that we know what the limit of rotation is, we simply need to drive slightly below that threshold during entry, mid-corner, and exit, while respecting the laws of the rotation fallacy, but it doesn't end there. At its core, a corner is like a set of dominoes. Whatever you do at the start of a corner affects everything afterward. If we jump back to my example at the start of this video, if you enter a corner too fast, you're unable to generate enough rotation initially, forcing you to steer harder later in the corner, asking your car for more rotation precisely when it's least capable of giving it. This mismatch results in spins, slides, and crashes, as we've come to learn. So let me give you the planning technique I use that'll make you never spin out of a corner again. We need to first recognize the slowest point in the corner and plan our rotation around that moment. While we're decelerating, we should be gaining more and more rotation until we reach the slowest point in the corner, where we start accelerating out of the bend and get less and less rotation as we increase our speed. Remember how speed and rotation are inversely linked. This is why the pros are able to effortlessly corner fast, while rookies look like they're on the verge of spinning every corner. It's because the rookie is constantly fighting the car, asking for rotation when the car is not capable of giving it, compared to the pro, who's constantly extracting as much rotation as the car is willing to provide, never asking for too much from the car. Now that you know how to extract the most speed from a corner, watch this video to learn how to prioritize corners so you can get up to speed fast on new tracks.